Okay, I'm going to try to explain what I think is something. It's called superintelligence. So the thing about a fractal is that it's an equation that feeds back into itself, and by feeding and by the numbers or the rules or whatever, like in the equation, when it feeds back into itself, it branches out and creates um, branches. So the thing is that uh, a fractal, when it starts to grow. So for example, uh, when we grow from an egg cell and a sperm cell, the human body is a fractal. So and the genes are sort of like the rules for how the fractal feeds back into itself to grow into what the morphological shape is of the human body. And the same goes for other organisms too, like cats and dogs and horses and cows and pigs and like all those farm animals and stuff like that. So like sharks and stuff like that. But the thing is, like, it feeds back into itself, and so the genes represent the rules for how to go in different directions of the feedback. And fractal, if you have a equation, and then that equation it grows, it becomes something, and it branches out and all that. So I saw a documentary on the History Channel from 2005, and they're in Saudi Arabia. They take a picture of your retina, and then from all the lines in your retina, it creates an equation. And so the thing is, the next time you go through a checkout port, they scan your eye, and if the equation matches up with the equation in the database, and they don't want you there, they're going to kick you out. So the thing is that everything possibly could have an equation that, when it grows out, describes a certain pattern or whatever is out there that it's describing. So it could be the retina it's describing. It could be a face, like the face of a person. It could be describing that, and as a fractal, as the initial conditions in an equation. And from doing that, superintelligence would probably be a fractal that is like the brain, or except like the brain, it feeds back into itself, and then it changes where all the connections are, and then it has a better representational model of the outside world. And so the superintelligence, if it was sort of like a network, like the brain is a network, but this thing, superintelligence, would be a network that, if you ever seen one of those diagrams of the internet or Facebook, where it's like the network, like the network is always changing the connectivity of itself, in Facebook and Google. I mean, Google has a whole bunch of data, and it has to self-organize. So the thing is that if superintelligence would have an equation, an initial equation to begin with conditions, and it would and that from that equation, it would grow out and self-organize with the data that's coming into it. So Google has data coming into it, and so it self-organizes its network. And the brain self-organizes because it has information coming into it. And so all you would have to do is get the right kind of equation for the right kind of principles of self-organization you would need for it to understand things in a fractal-like nature. So if it would integrate all this new stuff into itself, that would be a fractal superintelligence, because if it has the right equation, it would be able to self-organize in the best way possible in order to understand everything. And that's that's pretty much it. But like, so I got that idea from watching this trailer to a movie with Matt Damon and Robin Williams, and they were oh well, the thing was that he was the kid played by Matt Damon was a janitor, and he was on parole, and he got into fights and stuff like that. But he solved an equation on a blackboard that the professor left out, and his Ivy League school, and he's a janitor, and he solved the equation, and they were all amazed by how smart he was. And then he went, and they said, "Would you like to work for the NSA?" And we're something that you would be able to study would be chaos theory and string theory, and that's where I got the idea. It's like chaos theory. So a fractal is like chaos theory, and so if you used chaos theory to create a self-organizing fractal, you'd have to use math from chaos theory to understand how the self-organization would take place from the equation with the initial conditions. And so I guess that's what superintelligence would be. And I think it's very possible to create something like that from. It would have to be done by someone who's probably studied the math to do it, but like it would probably be a lot smarter than I am, because I can't even program. I can't even figure out how to understand programming languages. Can't really figure out how to make Java work or anything like that. But that's all I have to say.